everyone, it is Briximus Prime back for another Ghostbusters action figure review.
What a lovely singing voice you must have.
And today I'm going to be taking a look at the Ghostbusters Afterlife, Winston Zeddemore, and the Ghostbusters Peter Venkman. So anyway, let's just get right on into the review by busting out the figures and looking at the packaging. That was not my best segue, I admit. And now taking a look at the packaging. First off, as you can see here, there is differences in the packaging. I have the Peter Venkman from Wave 1 and the Winston Zeddemore from Wave 2. This one was during Afterlife. This one kind of takes place during that, the 1980s film. So as you can see, this one looks a little more degraded and more old, and this one looks more brand new. It's got the little 4+ right there. As you can see, I got Peter Venkman on clearance. And then right here on the side, you got images of the full teams here, and you got the Afterlife team as well as the originals. And then on the back, it just has a rundown of the wave and the ghosts and gives a description about the character that you got and the rundown of the Build-A-Figure. Nothing much on this side, and then there's some blueprints and schematics as backgrounds inside of the packaging, and that's really it for the packaging on these guys. And now taking a look at the accessories here. Starting off with the most iconic of the set, here is the proton pack. And yes, this is the exact same proton pack that's included with both of the figures, so I'm only looking at one of them, obviously. Right down to the same paint apps and everything. And it's got the little proton wand here, it's got the green straps and everything, and it's got a peg right there that plugs into the figure proper. And you can remove the wand, and obviously you have the little cord, and you can bend and stretch this, and you can obviously have this being wielded by one of the figures. And then obviously when they're not having it in use, you can just plug it right back in onto the proton pack. Very nice, I love this accessory. And then Peter Venkman specifically comes with a ghost trap. I like how it looks. It's very nicely painted, looks accurate. I like the warning lines. Very nice accessory. And then Winston comes with that proton pack, and then he also comes with a proton stream. And thankfully, all of the figures inside of the Afterlife wave all come with a proton stream, because for some reason they thought it was a good idea that Winston in Wave 1 was the only one to come with a proton stream, which meant you had to buy 4 of Winston to get a proton stream for all of your Ghostbusters. But now with the Afterlife wave, there is a lot more of them now. So very nice accessory here. We'll show that off in a second. And then Winston also came with this folded up newspaper piece. And if you take a close look at the newspaper, it's got some really nice articles. Go ahead and pause it if you want to read all those articles. I like all the Ghostbusters references in it. The proton stream blast effect is pretty self-explanatory. It just slides right on to the proton wand proper. And there you go. Now you can go ahead and bust some ghosts with a nice proton stream. Just remember, don't cross them.
All right, important safety tip. Thanks, Egon.
Since the proton pack does not come packaged on the figure in the box, you do have to put it on yourself. Getting it on is pretty easy. You just slide the figure right through there. There is a hole right there on the back with this big tab that will plug into there, basically securing the main gist of it. And then finally you want to strap them in by taking this green strap. There is a hole that will go onto the tab, and you'll just strap that on and plug it in, and there you go. And that is pretty secure on their back. It is not going to be coming off anytime soon. And now we can say that Peter Venkman looks complete. First, taking a look at Dr. Peter Venkman.
It's Dr. Venkman.
I have to admit, this face sculpt looks very much like Bill Murray. It might look a little off in some areas, but overall I think Hasbro did a good job. I like that subtle smirk he's got on his face, and that receding hairline looks good as well. Very in character for Dr. Venkman here. And then coming down the body here, Dr. Venkman has this Ghostbusters jumpsuit in that nice kind of beige tannish color. And the Ghostbusters logo looks amazing and nicely printed on the shoulder. And overall, he has amazing painting and sculpting, and really good sculpting, like I should mention that. Nice glossy black gloves, he's got the belt, he's got the tools. He's got the tools!
We had talent!
I also like his little name tag there that says Peter Venkman. And then he's got his boots right down there, and got some peg holes on the bottom of the feet. And then he's got like the wires and cords. There's the proton pack on his back. He's got the elbow pads and everything. Overall, very nice interpretation of the figure. Very Marvel Legends kind of quality to these figures, by the way, even down to the articulation. He's got a ball joint at the head, which allows for his head to look up, not that far, can look down a little bit. can look left to right. He does have a little bit of head pivoting, and it can swivel from left to right. Shoulders rotate a full 360, and unexpectedly, he does have a butterfly joint in that shoulder, so that was unexpected. He does have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that bend in pretty far, and then his wrists can rotate, and both of them do this hinging up and down action, which makes it easier for him to hold his proton wand. He has a ball joint at the base of the waist, which allows for some diaphragm articulation, like arching back and crunch a little bit of pivoting, but mostly for waist swiveling. His hips can move forward that far, they can move back that far. He does get a unhindered thigh swivel, double jointed knees, just like in Marvel Legends style. And then finally, he does get ankles that move up, down, and ankle pivot as well. So that is basically it for the Dr. Venkman figure.
He slimed me.
And now taking a look at Winston Zeddemore from Ghostbusters Afterlife. Honestly, this figure doesn't really look that much different from the original one and the Ghostbusters Afterlife version. The only thing in his face that looks a little different is he just has that little bit of gray hair in his sideburns, but like he basically looks exactly like his original. But there are some subtle differences that you don't really pick up on off the bat. He looks like he's very full of life. I like that. And then coming down the jumpsuit, he's got Zeddemore right there on his jumpsuit, Ghostbusters logo on the shoulder as well. And if you notice, he also has the glossy black gloves, but one of the differences is that he doesn't have the black elbow pads like the Dr. Venkman did, and also the shade of tan and beige that is on this figure. His is more of a bright color, his is more of a darker color. Also, Zeddemore has a little bit more of a gut on this one because, again, he has a little bit of age in this point of the movie, and these figures are when they were younger and a little more slimmed down. So that is also a very subtle difference, but it's subtle enough that I don't really care. And also, I should also mention, the boots on his legs are also a little bit higher as well. So just very subtle differences that you don't really notice upon first glance. And again, that's why I'm fine owning this Winston Zeddemore and not the original one, because again, that original one's kind of hard to find. But overall, the articulation and the detail on this is basically the exact same sculpt as the other one, just with, Zeddemore and obviously that little bit of the Afterlife spice to it. So going over Winston's articulation, his head can look up a little farther and can look down much. He can move side to side. So very good articulation on Winston. And for size comparisons, first off, we're starting with a Marvel Legends figure, kind of the standard size, which is the symbiote Spider-Man figure. And I'm just trying to show off this just so that you can kind of see the differences and the inspirations that these figures took from Marvel Legends, so that they really do have that Hasbro kind of quality to them that they put into their Star Wars The Black Series and Marvel Legends. Even right down to the detail of having a Build-A-Figure. And then here they are compared next to the previously reviewed Ghostbusters Afterlife mini puffs, and surprisingly I wasn't too lazy to just reuse footage from that review for this comparison. I must be feeling really bold today. And then finally, here they are with my Transformers Crossovers Ectotron, just as one last review, just as one last comparison. And even though these guys are obviously not to scale, these guys still look great together. And that is basically it for my review on the Ghostbusters Plasma series, Afterlife Winston Zeddemore, and Ghostbusters Peter Venkman. So if I had to give my thoughts on the two figures, I really like them. They are definitely the best action figure interpretations, at least within affordable price ranges, for the Ghostbusters characters, and I highly recommend picking all of them up if you can. Unlike me, who is having a hard time trying to even find any of them. And for anyone who's completing those Build-A-Figures, also good luck. But yeah, one of the things I really like about these two figures is I love how much articulation they have, even though most of it you're probably not even going to use. Like, the butterfly joints are not even needed for them to hold their proton wands, and yet it is still cool that Hasbro included it anyway. But overall, I like both of the figures. They definitely have that Marvel Legends-esque kind of quality to them, and again, I love the characters and I love the figures that interpret them. I don't have a favorite Ghostbuster. I like all of them. All of them have qualities and things that I like about each and every one of them. And yeah, and the figures definitely interpret two of those Ghostbusters very well. So anyway, that is basically it for my review. If I had to give the figures individual ratings, for the Winston, I'm going to give him a solid 8 out of 10. And for the Peter Venkman, a 7 out of 10. Or 8 out of 10, I meant. They're basically the same rating because they're basically the same figure. The only thing that I wish Venkman had was a proton stream. So anyway, that's basically it for this review. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give me a like on the video. Comment down below what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel for more action figure videos. And I'll catch you guys next time.